I get flooded with messages of people asking me, what UVB lights do you use for your Chinese water dragon? And there's no denying that the topic of UVB radiation for our awesome water dragons is kind of a complicated thing. With that in mind, in this video, I'm going to break down the very basic principles of UVB lights for your Chinese water dragons. Stick around. Alrighty guys, so you have three of the most popular sources of UVB light. If you go into your standard pet shop, they're generally going to have these types of UVB bulbs for your reptiles. The first, these are called Mercury Vapor Bulb. This model in particular is the PUV11 or the Power Sun UVB bulb by Zoomed Labs. I have used these numerous times for water dragons. My brother has used it on his bearded dragon. I use the 160 watt model for my Tegu. These work really well. The one con is that they emit usable UVB from the bulb, but they also emit heat. So let's say you have a water dragon that needs to bask at around 115 degrees, but this bulb produces a UVI of 3 at say 8 inches, because this is the 100 watt model. Well, at 8 inches, you might have a basking spot of almost 130. Now for a bearded dragon, that's perfect. For a Tegu, that's perfect. But for a water dragon, you could risk burning your lizard. The Power Sun is Zoomed's variety. Exoterra make a Solar Glow, which are other Mercury Vapor bulbs. I know there's the Mega Ray UVB bulb. I've always used the Zoomed brand. I've seen lots of people use it. I've never had issues with it. They are pricier than some of the other options, but sometimes I truly believe you pay for what you get, and this has not been a bad source of UVB lighting. The second type of UVB light are your linear fluorescents. So these are your T5 bulbs and your T8 bulb. This in front of you guys is a Zoomed ReptiSun 10.0 bulb, and this is a T8 bulb. The difference between a T8 and a T5 bulb is simply the diameter of it. T5 bulbs are thinner, T8s are larger, but these, in my opinion, are the best UVB lights that you can use because you are able to cover such a large area of the enclosure without having, say, the focused spot of UVB that you would get with a Mercury Vapor bulb. 18-inch bulb like this, you could use 2 of them and in theory cover pretty much a 4-foot enclosure with good basking spots, and that's what I do for my female water dragon. So I highly recommend these bulbs. Some of the other good brands out there are Arcadia. Unfortunately, me being in the United States, I am not able to easily source Arcadia products, so I'm super jealous of you guys in the UK because you guys, Arcadia has got to have some of the best lighting. Zoomed has always been what I've used because it's the best thing that I can get in the States. I've also used Zilla fluorescent lights. Their T8 bulbs are not bad. I've tried Exoterra stuff at the reptile store I work at, but I've never used any of the Exoterra UVB 100 through 200 models on my actual animals. The last type of UVB fixture is a compact fluorescent bulb. These suck. I'm just gonna say it. They do emit UVB, so all of you keyboard Karens out there that are saying these do not emit any UVB, they do. Here's the catch. They do not emit as much UVB as a Mercury Vapor or a ReptiSun, like a linear fluorescent bulb. So for example, you could use this for a leopard gecko, which needs a very low UV index. But when you're keeping a Chinese water dragon in this case, which is a diurnal basking lizard, you cannot use any of this UVB in a 4-foot tall enclosure. These are crap. Do not use these for a Chinese water dragon. I will downright say it. The only way that you should ever use this for a water dragon is to take your trash can and throw the bloody thing out. Just don't use them. If you're keeping Chinese water dragons, use either a linear fluorescent bulb or use a Mercury Vapor bulb. In my honest opinion, I swear by the ReptiSun 10.0 for water dragons, and then of course I've seen plenty of other keepers have success with Arcadia. Alrighty, so now that we know our UVB bulb, we can see how I'm using them in a setup. There's Ozzy, my male Chinese water dragon, and here is his UVB lights. I am using the T5 bulb. So T5 bulbs, as I've said, are thinner and brighter. You can see the difference between the size of a T5 and a T8. The T8 is almost the width of this reflecting fixture, but they still emit usable UVB. This bulb is a 34-inch T5 ReptiSun 10.0. What we can do is use the UVI output of this bulb to our advantage on setting up a proper basking site. As you can see, here are my halogen lights. Here's the basking spot. there is the UVB bulb. If you go onto ZoomMed's website or Arcadia's website, I haven't seen anything on Exoterra's website regarding the UVI index, but again, ZoomMed and Arcadia, if you guys are catching on to a trend here, you can see that those are pretty much the go-to brands. I've used other brands in the past, and I'm not hating on them, but those of you guys that are watching this and wanting to know the UVB lights for your water dragon, just buy a goddamn ZoomMed ReptiSun 10.0 or an Arcadia bulb. Trust me, you will thank me later. According to ZoomMed's website, the T5 bulb, ReptiSun 10.0, emits a UVI index of 3 at around 12 inches. So, what did I do? In this cage, I have a basking ledge right here, and it is roughly 12 inches from the base of the bulb, meaning every time Ozzy sits up here and he basks under his halogen flood lamp, he's getting heat and he's getting the proper UVB index. If you use a T8 bulb by ZoomMed, it will produce a UVI index roughly 8 to 10 inches below the light. So if I was using a T8 bulb, I would have to have these ledges 2 inches higher to still get the same UVI output. Generally with T5 bulbs, you're gonna have a much better gradient. And again, it's a lot easier to have more distance than less distance, because the closer your reptiles are to their heating lamps, the more you are at risking a burn. So again, this is a ZoomMed ReptiSun 10.0 T5, but I have also used these in the past as well. These work great for the smaller enclosures. Say you're raising up a baby in like a 2x2x3, running an 18-inch bulb diagonally, so that way they're around 8 inches from the top there, works a lot better. But you know, for a big animal plastics cage like this, it's just not feasible to use a T8 bulb when I need to get the high UVI output so much further down, especially with the heat lamps already being installed. So again, it's about balancing the UVI that these bulbs produce and how to get the perfect distance. For example, on Arcadia's website, you can actually type in, and I'll put a screenshot right now, Chinese water dragon, and they hand feed you the information of the bulb you need to use. Same thing with ZoomMed's website. They have an entire chart dedicated to all of their UVB lights. It is so easy nowadays, and it just kind of amazes me that people still haven't figured out. But again, that's why I'm making this video, so that way you guys can have healthy Chinese water dragons like Ozzy there. Now that we know what UVB bulbs to use, there you have it. That is UVB 101 for your Chinese water dragon. It's as simple as knowing the bulb type. I'm using the ReptiSun 10.0. This is a T5 bulb, so it is much more powerful than a T8. Therefore, I can have 12 inches away from the bulb to get a UV index of 3, which is perfect for a water dragon. And that way, every time Ozzy basks, he is getting all the UVB he needs. Hopefully that made it easy for you guys. I know UVB is super confusing. It was confusing for me when I started out. I learned how to do it, and I'm able to share this information with you guys. So from me, Alex of Alex's Agamids, I wish you guys the best. Take care. Say goodbye to the camera, Ozzy, and adios.